So this morning on this beautiful day, which is a holiday in the US and in Canada, it's a beautiful family day. And in the US, I believe it's President's Day. So everybody is getting a chance to be at home. So I want to welcome you again to our Too Tired to Cook. This is our 5-day program, and I've got some great really easy things that you can do if you're too tired to cook. That doesn't mean that you have to ignore having something healthy to eat. So I've got some great simple ways that you can make easy recipes. So today we're going to start off setting the foundation, and we're going to make a vegetable soup. And I hope that you brought a journal or a pen and paper with you, and because I want to make this interactive, hopefully a little bit of fun and empowering. It's not just about sitting and listening to me talk today. I'm going to put you guys to work. And yeah, if you're here, you're likely looking for more energy, less stress in the kitchen, and simple solutions. And that's what we're going to give you. And it's not about perfection. It's about progress. It's about making small, manageable steps towards nourishing yours. And is it okay if I tell you a little bit about my own story today before we get going? Just, let me see the chat. You can put something in the chat or say yes. I don't want to. Well, yes. Okay. OJ says, yeah. Thanks, Gloria, too. Thank you so much. Now, yes, I've been on a journey to improve my health over the last 11 and a half years. Almost 11 and a half years. Today I feel amazing. I have lots of energy. I really feel like I'm in a good place, but it wasn't always like that. And when I started over 11 years ago, I had some health challenges that were creeping into my life. I was on a slippery slope, even though I didn't have I wasn't taking any prescription medications. I was definitely on this slippery slope towards getting there and becoming a best friend with my doctor. And today it's like I see my doctor once a year, if that. Which is the way that I like it, because I feel great and I can listen to my body and, like I said, have the energy that I need for my day. Now, what happened to me is like I said, I started feeling tired. I was having mood swings. And what I found is I didn't realize this. Like, I knew that some of the foods I were eating wasn't good for me, but I didn't realize exactly what they were doing to me. And one of the big things that really impacted me is sugar. And that's like refined sugar. And I was totally addicted to sugar. I am a sugar addict, and I ended up finding a way to get off of sugar so that I could regain my health. And what that led me to is my very simple way that I think of eating. So there's so much information out there about what you should eat, what you shouldn't eat this food, it's going to help you with this and that. And I want you to keep it simple, very simple. The whole thing is eat real foods. So real foods, here's a real food, a carrot. Eat real foods, mostly plants. Now, I'm not saying you have to just eat plant-based. If I had my way in the world, yes, everybody would eat plant-based, but I know that not everybody is going to want to do that, but it should be mostly plants. Why? Because plants and vegetables and fruits and all of the beautiful plants that we have to eat have the nutrients in them. And that's the main reason why we want to eat more plants. And it's not about counting calories and looking at what you should eat until you're satisfied. But I also know that not everybody, I said it's about progress, not being perfect. And so this week, what we're going to do is talk about some things that you can do that are really easy to start putting more plants and more nutrients into your lifestyle. And it's not about the macronutrients, which is like your fats, your carbohydrates, and protein. We're digging down into the vitamins and minerals, the antioxidants, and all the beautiful health benefits that we get from eating plant food. And when I say eat more plants, I'm also saying eat a variety of plants. It's not like just eat carrots. No, you need more than carrots. Carrots bring a beautiful array of vitamins and minerals to the table and to our bodies, but we need more than what carrots can give us. So eat real food, mostly plants. And if you can eat the rainbow of a variety of plants, then this is how you're going to gain back your energy and start feeling great. And I don't know if that's anything that people already didn't know. I think that we all know that already. It's just to remember and grounding ourselves on all of this stuff. So this is what it's all about and what we're planning for this week. And I want you to playful out, do the exercises with me. And this is your time, and we're here to support you. And if you brought your journal, we're going to start here with a little exercise that I want you to do. And you can share if you want. You don't have to share. But I'm going to start with the first question, and I'd love you to write the answers down if you can, because writing actually helps reinforce things for us and really dig down and get into our consciousness. The first question I have for you is, what brought you to this session, to this Too Tired to Cook program? What's your biggest struggle with food, with cooking, and with your energy levels? I'm going to give you a few minutes to ponder that. And like I said, if you can write it down, that's even better. What came up for you, even just thinking about it, what came up for you? And are there any surprises for you when you really sit down and think about it? Anybody want to share at all what came up? Even just writing something in the chat? Lovely. Gloria said she's at a 9, leaving room for not being perfect. And I think that's great. Yeah. And I think if you're at a 10, sometimes you need to think whether that's like the emotion or you really are at a 10. But even if you are at a 10, like Gloria says, she's leaving room for not being perfect. It's okay. We're none of us are perfect. But it's about, like I said before, it's the consistency. And when things go off the rails and you're not eating the way that you should, or the way that, following whatever goals, moving towards your goals, it's about how do you get back on track. And one of the things that we tend to do is we put the bar way up here. So whatever your magic wand moment, you can also think about how long would you give yourself to get to that magic wand. And so I would say if you're somebody who has a debilitating chronic disease, you might want to step it up and really dig in. But if you're looking to improve your energy, then maybe just one thing is all you need to start with. Create the habit and then try adding something else. And I said that I knew that I needed to make some changes. And I ended up doing a detox to start with to reset myself. It was like a reboot reset for myself. And I'll tell you more about a safe way to do that later in the week. But when I did that, I changed. My first thing I wanted to change was to get off of sugar. But then once I did that, then the next thing is, what is next after that? And one of my big things was potato chips. And so part of that was getting off of my potato chips and some other things. Or maybe it is eating more nutrient dense foods, having more vegetables and that. And so this week, we're going to give you some tools that you can use to add more plants into your lifestyle. I'm not asking you to overhaul everything that you eat. I'm just asking you to think about the things that I'm asking, play full out and try. I'm going to give you some home play things you can do this evening, or maybe not today because the stores are all closed, I think, but things that you can do to make some changes to add more nutrients to your body, because low energy, a lot of times what it means is that you're not getting the nutrients that you need in your body. So this is about adding nutrients so that you can have more energy. And like I said, I'm not asking you to make drastic changes to the way you eat now. I'm just asking you to try some of these simple tips. Okay. Already. So if you didn't have a chance to finish, or I would encourage you to actually do some reflection this evening on this. That's part of what I'm going to ask if you could do. But what I wanted to do is give you some tools during the week. We're going to talk about different tools to help you with your plant-based eating. And my tool for today is actually the mason jar. Now, I think in the US or in some places, they call this a canning jar, but this is a good old-fashioned mason or canning jar. This is the number one tool for you that I want you to look at. So they come in all different sizes. This one is a 1 quart or 4 liter, depending on where you are. I recommend the wide mouth because you can put your hand in it. The regular mouth is actually about like this. So you can fit the regular mouth right inside the wide mouth. So I recommend the wide mouth. There is a 750 mil as well. So it's a little bit smaller. It's about the same height, the same width of the jar. So they use the same lids. But this is 750 mil, or it would be 3 cups in the Imperial. The next one I have is 2 cups or a pint or 500 milliliters. And you can see the trend here. So that one is smaller. Again, it has the same mouth on it. So they all take the same lid. And what it comes with is these lids here. So there's like a cover for the seal when you're doing canning, and then the ring. And so you put the ring in and the cover, and you just screw it on. So that's my jar. Now, what I like is I have some of these are plastic lids. These ones do rust out, and I do use them because I don't have enough of these for everything, but I start by using these ones first. And why I'm saying to get some of these, we're going to use them this week for storing things in. So we don't want to have glass containers. We want to have plastic. We want to have glass containers. These are really affordable because I think you can check it out, but I think for $20 or less, you can get a dozen of these. And they're at hardware stores, have them, grocery stores. I think you can buy them on Amazon as well. And so these are really easy. I would recommend starting out with some of the 1 liter or quart size, the big one, and also the half of that, which is the pint or 2 cups or 500 milliliters, whichever system you're in. And we're going to use them for our meals so that we can actually have grab and go meals this week. Now we have also, this is a 1 cup of 250 mil jar. So it's even smaller. Now it has a smaller lid. They actually used to make it like a stubby one that had the same lid, but I haven't seen that in a while. But it has a smaller lid. This is really good for things like dressings or servings that you're taking with you. And we can go down to a half a cup. I've got some salt, Mexican salt in here that I made. And this one is half the size of this one. So it's 125 mils or half a cup. Now, if you're going to work and you're taking a salad, you can have your salad in your jar. You can have your dressing and just dump them together. That's it. That's all you need to do. So these jars are great. So I would love today for your home play is to actually research buying. And if you're in and committed, if you don't have the canning jars or mason jars, to look at buying at least the 1 quart or 1 liter and the 2-cup pint or 500 milliliters. So it's all the same. And they're really great for storage. And we're going to use it today with our recipe. Now we're going to get to the recipe. This is a simple soup that we're going to make. It's a vegetable soup. And I'm starting with this because it's easy. And it's I would say, what do I call it? A grab and what's the word that I wanted to say for this soup? It's very easy to make. And all we're going to do is basically put all of our ingredients into a pot and simmer it for up to a couple of hours. It's up to you. But I find that the more you simmer, the more the flavor and body of it comes out. Let me bring you back over to my workspace here so you can see me. Okay. Just going to bring it up a little bit. And this is a vegetable soup. There's lots. Oh, and I have the recipe we will share with you at the end. We'll put the link in the chat. I have my pot. So this is the Dutch oven. I will make a big pot of this. You can make half the size if you want. It's up to you. But all I'm going to do is I'm just going to put all of my vegetables into this pot. All right. So let's go. And I'm making the whole thing. Like all I've done is wash the vegetables. I haven't done anything else because I want to make sure that you see how easy it is to make. All right. I got my composter here too. So I'm going to start with an onion and I'm just going to cut my onion. And we're going to talk a little bit more about knives later on in the week, but a good set of knives is really important. And I took the ends off of my onion and then I'm just cut it in half. And now I'm peeling the skins off. That's it. It's very quick. All right. And the same thing I'm going to peel off on the second one here. Just peel off the skin on it. So you got your onion, and you could use a bigger onion than this. You can. And then I'm just going to cut it into wedges. I'm really not dicing or anything. I cut it into wedges, and I'm going to put that into my pot. And the same on this side. Just some few cuts, and there it is. Like I said, you could use a bigger onion. That'll be more flavor. I have carrots here. So I've washed these, but I'm leaving the skins on because there's a lot of nutrients in the skins. So all I'm doing is cutting off the ends, put that in the compost, and then I'm going to just chop the carrots up. They don't have to be fine. You could do a rough cut with this. You don't have to be, like, you could even do bigger ones than this. It doesn't have to be bite size or anything like that. And I'm just throwing that into my pot. When you get down to the ends, you got to be really careful if you're cutting yourself. Now, my cutting board is slipping away from me. So the way that I'm going to stop that is I have a wet cloth here. I'm just going to put that underneath, and then that way my cutting board isn't going to move on me. It's going to stay in its place. So be careful around the ends. I'm doing 5 carrots. You can do as much as you want. You can fill up the pot with veggies, and away you go. Now, this is, so let me do more carrots. And carrots have beta carotene. You always heard that's good for your eyes. I know you hear about that for sure. And when we're eating the rainbow, here's our orange color with the carrots. So we've got some orange in there. Gonna add that in. And as I get to the end, I'm just going to do them single now. Now, like I said, you don't need to cut them this fine. You could just cut them like this. And when you're finished making your soup, you have a couple of choices. You can eat it chunky or you can blend it up. And I recommend you make your soup and you have a cup of soup as part of your lunch, or you can have it as part of your dinner. And the program that I follow is called the Eat Real to Heal program. And we have soup with lunch, about a cup of soup with our lunch and our dinner. And this helps to give us those vitamins that we need or want to get in. I have a cabbage here. I'm going to all I do with my cabbage is I take off the outer leaves that are wilted, and put those in the compost. And then I already cut this in half. I'm going to cut it in half again because it's a big one. And I'm using a red cabbage. And part of that is I didn't have a chance to go to the store to buy a green cabbage because we had a huge snowstorm over the weekend. And I thought, I'm just going to use my red cabbage. But I will say, I love red cabbage. I put it on a lot of things. I use it in my salads. I'm going to leave this because my dogs are going to eat the end. But when it comes to the soups, I prefer the taste of green cabbage in my soups. But red cabbage is okay. I'm good with that. So all I did is I quartered it, and then I'm going to cut it. And so I can just cut it into chunks. It doesn't have to be small. It can be bigger. I'm going to add that to my pot. So because it was a big one, I used a quarter of my cabbage. If it was a small one, it actually in the recipe, it says one small cabbage. But if that's too much for you, just put what you want in there. And I'm going to add celery is really good. And the recipe calls for celery, but I don't have any celery. So I'm just using what's in my pantry. I've got no celery, but usually I put celery in and chop it up like I do the carrots. And then I've got some Brussels sprouts here. And I'm just going to, oops, one of them just went to the dogs. It fell on the floor. So I'm just basically putting the Brussels sprouts, taking off the ends and putting those into the pot as well. I love Brussels sprouts. So if you don't like Brussels sprouts, don't put it in. If you're not sure about Brussels sprouts, you know what? Try it, because be adventurous and try different things too. Brussels sprouts get a bad rap in the world, but some people don't like them. They do get a very distinct odor and flavor when they're overcooked. And if you don't like them in the soup, you can just cook them some other way. But I'm good. I'm going to just add some Brussels sprouts here because I love them. And you could chop them up more, but they don't need to be. It's not about big chopping or anything. All right. Got a few more. Make sure I got my soup. So now I've been putting all this stuff in. My Dutch oven pot here is half full. It's half full of veggies. And I'm going to just have one more. There we go. That's my Brussels sprouts. You can add in potatoes, beans are good. Whatever suits your fancy. The sky is the limit. So here's it's half full right now. And I'm going to add in some spices now. I've got some garlic, and you should chop your garlic about 10 minutes or 15 minutes before you add it to your pot. And if you like garlic, you can do 3, 4, I think the recipe says 3 cloves of garlic. Add 5 or 6 or a whole head of garlic if you want. I want to say, don't be shy on your spices. That's really important. You want to get the flavors into your spices. And so in addition to the garlic, I'm going to add a couple of things. Now, I like to just add poultry seasoning because it's got like thyme and sage and rosemary in it, I believe. And I'm going to add like about a teaspoon and a half. And I just cup it in my hand. That's it. But if you want, you can measure it accurately. I have a little bit of smoked paprika I'm going to add in. So about a teaspoon. I could add a little bit more. You can add in things like cumin. You could add in turmeric, then salt and pepper. And I'm going to do a kind of an Italian here. So on my Italian side, I'm going to add in oregano, and I'm going to add in about a tablespoon, if not more, of oregano. And then I've also got basil here. So I'm going to add in some basil leaves. So this is all dried. If you have fresh, you can add in the fresh. This one is in a bag still. All right. So I'm going to add in some basil, a little bit of pepper, and I'm not adding any salt because I'm working on being salt-free. But if you want to add in salt, you could add some pink Himalayan, or the other salt that you can use is Celtic sea salt, and try to minimize that if you can. And table salt is, it's very highly processed and not good for you. I have some onion powder I'm going to add in. And our family is a garlic family. And even though I added garlic, I'm going to just add a little bit of garlic powder. So that's what I do. again about it. Don't be shy with your spices. So that's my spices. And then let me put this to the side. I've got tomatoes as well. So I'm going to add in a can of tomatoes. Now you can cut fresh tomatoes up and do about, I guess, 2 to 3 cups of fresh tomatoes. If you don't have fresh tomatoes, you can add a can. I've got diced tomatoes. I prefer them, and I'm looking for ones that are no salt in them. So I've added that in. And all I'm going to do now, it's like a pretty full pot. I'm going to add in some water just to cover my veggies. And so once they're covered, that's good. You can always add more later on. You can get a little bit more flavor by adding a vegetable broth. But if you're using vegetable broth, watch what the ingredients are. A lot of these, my daughter did a sugar-free challenge, and I remember looking at all the ingredients to make sure there was nothing with sugar in it. And I know vegetable broth has sugar in it. A lot of them do. But if you can find a nice vegetable broth that has ingredients that you can recognize and you're comfortable with, then you can add that. That gives you a nice flavor, or a little more flavor to start, a flavor boost. And that's it. I've got all my ingredients in the pot. I'm going to put it on the stove, turn it up to high, bring it to a boil, and then I'm going to bring it down to a simmer, put the lid on, and I'm just going to simmer this, and I simmer it for 2 hours. And that gives all the flavors an opportunity to meld together and create a real full body soup. And then voila, when you're done, you have this beautiful soup. All right, so I have a beautiful soup. And this one I did yesterday, I put potatoes in it. I didn't, and it's got pretty much everything else is the same, but I added potatoes to it. And so what I can do now is I have my soup ready to go. You can leave it in the pot and scoop it into a bowl or a cup. Or what you can do is, let's say you're going to work and you want to have a grab and go lunch. Here you go. Take your 2-cup mason jar and see if you can fill it up with soup. And then if you have a microwave at work, I don't recommend microwaves, but I know at work that's the only way. Here's a jar of chunky soup. If you would like to have the soup more blended, you can put it in a blender, put some of it in the blender to give it like a little more creaminess, or you can just leave it chunky. And here I could just fill up probably a week's worth of soup. So if I'm having soup for lunch and dinner, or when I'm having my lunch and my dinner, if I fill up these, I can just heat up this soup and add it to my dinner. And voila, you have a great grab and go. So what happens is now you've got the soup in the fridge. When you come to the fridge at dinner time and you go, what's for dinner? Oh, I don't feel like cooking. Oh, I have soup. I can at least have some nutritious soup to add some nutrients to my body. And I know what happens to me. Oh, it happened to me a lot. And it still happens if I'm not prepared, and I don't have an intention about what I'm going to eat, is I'm working and it's 6 o'clock. It's time to make dinner. Oh, what am I going to make? Oh, it's going to take too long to make dinner. So what do? I make some pasta. So now so if that's what you're doing, I'm not saying it's not good, but you can add, now you have your soup, you can add your soup. And we just basically made this soup and put all the ingredients together in 10-15 minutes as you get better at it and you're chopping, and you can just have that beautiful soup. All right. Any questions? I see a couple things in the chat. So thank you, Cynthia, about my kitchen. Thank you. And Gloria, I love having jarred soups and stews on hand. Yeah, it's so easy, right? It's so easy to make. So are there any questions about making a soup? I don't see anybody having questions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add the recipe to the chat, so you can grab the recipe. It'll also be on the Facebook page. And if you are a VIP, you will also get all this stuff in your VIP group. So that is that. So I've added that for you. It's very basic, but this is about simple easy things. It doesn't take 15 minutes. Simmer it on the stove for a couple of hours. Just check it every once in a while and add it to your meals. You can blend it up. You can blend it with a blender, or the other way I like to blend my soups, if I'm blending them, is with an immersion blender. So you have this little handheld stick. You just plug it in and add it and crunch it down. And that way you can get it not fully blended, but maybe partially blended. And you don't have to use your blender. It's easier to clean up. And yeah, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all of my soup into my blender or into my mason jars like I did here. And then I just need to take one out of the fridge, heat it up in a pan or in the microwave if you're at work, and you've got something to add to your meal that's delicious and nutritious. And play around with your spices as well if you want. All right. So that's it for today. I just wrap up here. I would love for you to take some time and reflect on the exercise we did earlier. Why are you here? What's your challenges with your health? What does your magic wand moment look like in your future if you were to wave a magic wand? And also, what's your commitment level? Do a self-reflection, especially if you didn't finish. And I'd love for you to look up the cost and where you can get mason jars if you don't already have them. Maybe order them off of Amazon or make an intention to go to the store to grab some. Probably the dollar stores probably already have them or something similar. And yeah, if you're interested, see what you've got in your pantry and make yourself some soup. And tomorrow we are going to use our mason jars, and we're making a really easy DIY salad and salad dressing tomorrow. So again, we have some grab and go things for us. And I just want to note, if you have watched some of the videos over the weekend, our VI package where you get all of the videos, you get all of the free gifts from the amazing free gifts from the speakers. That is good until tomorrow and a day. So if you haven't looked at the VIP package, I'm just going to pop the URL in the chat if you want to look at that. No pressure at all. It's totally up to you. It's $67, and we're looking at the proceeds are going to the profits are going to World Central Kitchen. I am on a mission to raise $150,000 for World Central Kitchen. They are in a worldwide organization of chefs on the ground in different areas. They provide nourishing meals for people in crisis, like the LA fires, the hurricanes that are happening in Florida and in that area, the plane crash that happened. And I think right now there's other crisis areas that they're in as well. So they are all over the world helping people in crisis to have nourishing meals, because that's so important. All right. One last chance for any questions. And if not, I will give you back the rest of your day. Enjoy, if you're on the holidays like we are here in Canada and in the US, enjoy a beautiful day. All right. Thank you, everyone. And we'll be back again tomorrow, same time, talking about salads tomorrow.
Have a great day.
Thank you, Gloria. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, bye-bye.